Americans are notorious for going to great lengths to avoid metric units. And there's no better example of this than our insistence on measuring practically everything in football fields. So I've decided to produce a short series of videos exploring the football field as a unit of length and area to shed some light on how we see the world. And speaking of the world, we're going to kick things off by measuring the circumference of the Earth in football fields. So we're given a big table of data and conversion factors on the left. And I want to point out in particular that I'm going to call the length of the football field an FF, and that's 120 yards because I'm including both end zones. And we notice the radius of the Earth at the equator, that's the equatorial radius in the table, is given to us in kilometers. This means we can quickly get the circumference of the Earth at the equator by multiplying by 2 pi. So the circumference is given by the formula 2 pi r, and so we plug the numbers in, and we get a circumference of 40,074 kilometers, just keeping 5 digits of precision for the moment. Now, because kilometers are just too hard to understand, we begin the necessary conversion to football fields by tacking on a conversion factor that takes us to meters. And we see that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So we start with our circumference of 40,074 kilometers. And when we tack on a conversion factor, we make sure to arrange it so the old units cancel and leave us with the new units in the numerator, like this. So the kilometers are going to cancel out and leave us with meters as the only surviving unit at this point. Again, we're working our way to some units that actually make sense by converting to feet next. So 1 meter is about 3.281 feet, and we turn this into a conversion factor to cancel the meters. So we put feet on top and meters on the bottom there. And there's our cancellation, leaving us with feet as the surviving unit. And now the problem is getting really promising because we can convert to yards. And yards are a unit that we recognize from watching football. So again, we turn this into a conversion factor, and we're going to cancel the feet, leaving us with yards. And finally, we have a chance to make sense out of this thing by doing the final conversion to football fields. And remember, those are called FFs, and there's 1 FF for every 120 yards, again, if we include the end zones in the football field. So we tack on our conversion factor, and we cancel the yards, and now we're ready to calculate our final circumference of the Earth at the equator in football fields. Now, to run these numbers, we multiply all the numerators together, and then we divide by the product of all the denominators. Be careful to wrap that product of denominators in parentheses as you type it into a calculator. And so finally, just rounding to 4 significant digits here, we arrive at 365,200 football fields to wrap all the way around the Earth. So after converting the circumference of the Earth to football fields, we can collectively breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that we finally have a deep intuition for the distance around our planet. I hope you enjoyed this video because I'm hard at work making more videos on how to measure our environment using football fields. I'll keep the growing list of videos in the description below, and I'd also love to hear from you. What would you like to measure in football fields so that you can really understand how big it is?